Hey guys, so I'm back with another video, and for today's video I'll be going in with my top 5 P.Louise palettes that I would 100% recommend in her 50% off this month. Okay, so if you're an OG on my channel, you can definitely tell that I'm a big advocate for P.Louise palettes. Use and abuse her palettes. If you're an OG on this channel, you will definitely know that for sure. Or if you are someone that's just stopping by, if you scroll through my videos, you could definitely see me upload quite a lot of palettes on this channel. Now, I feel like the last time I did a P.Louise 50% sale kind of video, it was mainly around her bases and so on. But this time I feel like I'm going to focus on my top 5 palettes. Now, I've been using P.Louise from she just came out with her very first palette, inserting picture here. I still do own that palette, but that palette is in my makeup kit. So it's not in my personal, but that's in my makeup kit. That's how good that palette is. It's in that one, but it is a really good palette. One thing I must say that I do admire is that she takes her time with making her palettes. She takes her time with the decor, with the choice of colors, with the pigmentation, the formula. She also takes into consideration her viewers' points. She also knows what to target because she's a makeup artist, so she knows what needs to be here and what doesn't. Okay, so I feel like I'm gonna start from the bottom to the top. So starting off with my top 5, and my number 5 palette would definitely go to the P.Louise Cancelled palette. Look at how beautiful. I will insert pictures so you guys can have better visuals of this palette, so you guys can have better choices on what to purchase and how they look exactly. But I will also try and swatch a few in this video so you guys can see how they look if you have not scrolled through my video. It's a very neutral palette. This palette is for people that love bridal or neutral everyday type of makeup. To me, this palette is more so a cool tone palette more than a warm tone, even though it has warm orange tones in it. So the undertone is basically the main base color. So the main base color can be cool, warm, neutral, and so on and so forth. So that's basically what I mean. Unfortunately, even though this palette is in my top 5, I'm not seeing it on the sides currently, but I did purchase this palette at either 40 or 47 pounds, in between that bracket. Let me swatch a few shades for you. So let's go in with this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade. So from these swatches so far, you can definitely see what I mean by cool undertone. So this is meant to be a brown, but it's more of a cool tone brown. The shimmer in this palette is very reflective. There are 1 and 2 that are very hard, but it still does the job. I guess that's why it's not my fave, but I do tend to use this palette quite often for someone that loves color. So the next runner-up is the Watch the Queen Conquer palette. Now this palette falls in number 4. We'll insert pictures right here. This palette is originally priced for £60, but on 50% off you can purchase it for £36, which is what I got it for on Black Friday. So this was one of the products that she had on Black Friday sale. Now this palette is a very unique. This palette comes with 2 sides to it, and it also comes with a chessboard. So now for the 2 sides, so that we have this side, which has nice pink and purple and a bit of orange tones to it, and this side is more on the green, grungy, but bright side as well. Now this palette is amazing. It is gorgeous. The color story is amazing. But personally, why I've ranked it number 4, to me, kind of, I wouldn't say disappointing, because this palette is truly amazing. But for some colors, it is very hard, while some is soft, but it still gives you that full maximum color payoff. Now this eye look that you see right here, I've used this palette and some other palettes that you will see as I go along to create this one eye look. Imagine several palettes to create one eye look. Okay, let me swatch a few. So I'm going to swatch a few from this side. So we're going in 1. When I meant by the shadows, or some of the shadows are hard, meaning that I need to scrape off the top layer of the shadow in order to get the high maximum color payoff. The formula is just a little bit inconsistent. So this is it. So those are 4 shades from this side of the palette. Now I'm going to jump to the other side of the palette. So we're going in with the greens. So we're going in with this one. See, some of them come off a little bit chalky. But still performs beautiful. I'm not sure why I don't pick up this palette as much as I thought I would, but it's really still a good palette. I used 3 shades from this palette on my eyes, so you do see that it still performs beautifully on me. My third runner-up is the P.Louise Worldy Flight Mode palette. Now this palette is, now look at the packaging, superb. And it actually moves. It's superb. This is the color story in the Flight Mode palette. It is very much on the purple side, the purple tone and a bit of orange tones in it. Now this palette right here, baby, when I said the shadows are soft, they are pigmented. I mean, they are pigmented. Now for this palette, I did use 3 shades right here to make that nice purple ombre right there. And I've also used this shade right here mixed with another shade from the Queen to Conquer to put right there. Now this palette right here would make it even further up the step, but there's 2 of her that can't really mix or would love to tie it with. But you will see which palette I'll tie it with in a minute. Now this palette right here is priced at £17, but on the sale you can get it for £8. Now let me swatch. When I say these feel like butter, they are super soft. This palette is not chalky like the previous one, but it is super buttery. Super buttery. Look at that. This is the only one that actually came off a little bit chalky, but it picked up way better than the one in the previous palette. And you can see how pigmented it's swatched. My second runner-up. This palette was a very recent order, but this palette has been used quite a lot. I picked it up more than I thought I would. This is the If the Crown Fit palette with certain pictures and videos. So this is basically what the inside looks like. Now this baby right here is more so on the warmer tone comparing to the other palette. Putting pictures side by side for you guys to see the Cancel palette right next to the If the Crown Fit palette, and you can definitely tell that one is cooler and one is more on the warmer tone, even though this one has more browns. I don't know if it's because it has way more browns where I gravitate to it more for nice and milky eye. And this black right here, baby, when I tell you this black right here is super pigmented. I've also done a look using this black shade and this palette in general on my channel, so you can definitely check that video out. Now I will be swatching a little bit for you guys, and also look at this. This is the second part to the palette. Super pretty, and I love the color story right here also. We're just gonna swatch a few, going with the shimmer. Now this palette right here, when I tell you every shade is buttery, there's no tugging to it. I don't have to scrape off the top layer to get what I want. It is super, super superb. Like, look at that. Like, look at that. Sorry for my messy hands, but look at that. This palette is to die for. Now this palette I would 100% recommend way more than the cancelled palette, because as I mentioned, the cancelled palette is cancelled. It's discontinued by the looks of it. So this palette is priced at £47, but you may purchase this palette for £35. Guys. Now the first runner-up is the Worldy palette. Now, if you know, I love bright, bold colors, and you guys can see that I've definitely dented a few shades in this palette. Like, most of the logos on the shadows are gone completely. Now this palette I use and abuse. I love it. This palette is also used on my eyes today. It's mainly the blue shades, and it is super superb. Now this palette I've also used several times on my channel, so if you would like to check out those videos, please scroll down and look. And if you want any makeup ideas or look ideas, you can definitely scroll down. I'm trying to tap back into my creative side so I can definitely get my money's worth out of these products. So that closes off on my top 5 picks of my P.Louise palettes. Now, will I be purchasing any more palettes? Yes, if it appeals to me, then yes. There are a few palettes that I also do own from her collection, but they're not quite there. Like, I do not love them or reach for them as much as I reach for these bad boys right here. Or I have them in my makeup kit for clients. So yes, it's like, hence why I bought them. So now we've reached the end of this video. Before you go though, please do comment down below and let me know which palettes or palette you own from P.Louise or about to purchase from P.Louise 50% off sale. Bye until next time.